Hey guys, it's Will. I'm back. This is the proper video for the Konflikt starter box. If you haven't seen the last video, check it before I delete it. If not, it'll be deleted. So there's that. Yeah, so we can get in it. We're gonna look at the box. It's already been opened because I did the initial placeholder review. I will be getting the rule book here soon, if not of the day of recording, a couple of days later. There's that. Also, I just beat the Battlefield 6 campaign, so I'm going to be playing that all weekend. So this video is probably going to come out on the week, aiming for Monday at the time of this recording. So it'll be in the next couple of days. Playing some Battlefield. The campaign was mediocre. It wasn't bad. It was short, like really short. It's definitely not the best Call of Duty, I'm going to say it. It was basically a Call of Duty campaign, but short, like a 4-hour Call of Duty campaign. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't good. It was a Battlefield campaign, condensed. It felt like a restart to the whole Battlefield series. The best campaign, though, for Battlefield, to my opinion, is still Battlefield 3. Now, people might say the war stories and stuff, but I find those are more like an anthological story, not a full campaign. The Last Tiger and the mission where you play as the Australians attacking the hillside and stuff in number 1 was really good. Like No Flag or whatever, like Under No Flag. Yeah, Under No Flag and Last Tiger were some of the best stories that they wrote. And then the best campaign was Battlefield 3. I haven't played Bad Company, so I can't say that. But anyways, so without going any further ado, as we're talking about battle games and war games and stuff, let's get right into the actual unboxing, which is this boy right here. So here it is. This is the 2-player starter set for Konflikt 47. They have a new logo, Whirler Games, and the Clockwork Orange or Orange Goblin is not on here because they bought the rights from them, which kind of sucks. I hope they get to continue making the comics for this, but seeing as their company is going down and watching what they do online and stuff, it just is unlikely going to happen, which is sad because the comics and their writing was awesome because it was literally just slight tweaks to actual history, and I liked that dark history to it and keeping stuff, whereas the writing of this is going more Games Workshop-y, Warhammer-y, in the sense of more a new universe, super sci-fi, history's out the window, and as they make more source books, we're going to a completely different thing. It's not going to be the Konflikt that you knew from first edition, though the rules are actually a lot better from what I've been hearing from everyone. It's a lot more fun, definitely stands on its own, and I'm just happy to get models and plastics for this game finally. Whereas, so I'm not paying $100 for a 10-man squad of Fireflies in metal. So there's ups and downs. I can get into an in-depth discussion about the lore later on once I actually get the source book so I can read it. I'll probably do a different video on that, but yeah. So if I remember to, and if you've skipped the video ahead of time, we're now actually going to open the box now. If you skipped this part and using the chapters below, or if I mark it somehow, if you want to hear my thoughts and opinions on the initial setting in Battlefield 6, go back and restart the video. If not, we're going to get right into unboxing this. So we pop this up, and at the top here, so you see this pops out. It'd be flatter because of the models and stuff, but because I put everything back in, there's that. You have at the start here on the top, your pocket rule book would be here, but again, I gave it to our friend of the channel, Callum. That is his copy. I'm getting the full large book myself. And as you can see here, we have a map that is a 2-sided laminated paper, so you can play your first game of Konflikt on a cool display board, or if you want to use this for D&D or other like kill team and stuff, you got that. So that's neato. I'm going to save that for demo games and stuff. Stores want to run demo games, you have that. You get a felt bag for your order dice, and you get the cover that protects the books from the models. Now, they didn't do a quick reference sheet like they normally do in Warlord boxes with it being on this. This Konflikt line from this initial box seems like they're going very much into other big named gaming company boxes. So take that as you will. We'll have to see how they go further on and how this turns out. So we lift that off, and on the sides we have some signals. We have the shield, more signals, and that, when we pack everything back up, we'll look at the bottom of the box. The big thing about the signals is they find in the original lore, when they do the Manhattan Project where they make the first nuke, it ends up making a, depending on, in this universe, in this timeline, they did it slightly different, where they hit in a specific spot compared to how when we did it. And it caused a rift through time and space. Basically, the Fallout lore, like the Fallout universe, was sending history and data and streamlines and all this stuff back to basically the internet. They intercepted the internet, and their scientists took and were like, hey, power armor and all this stuff, and DNA and splicing and all this. And they took the data and made it themselves. Other people did it a lot quicker than others. Some did it slower for safety reasons, like the Americans. There was no real known where these signals came from and why they made it. And I think with this new lore of Konflikt, I think we're going to actually deep dive into where this stuff comes in. And don't be surprised if it's like, oh, because if demons and death claws came out and humanity had to make stuff to fight them, if we don't see something sane like that. Anyways, let's get right into looking at the models here. I'm going to zoom in the camera and we'll take a look. But yeah, looking at our first sprue here, we have the power armored guys for the Germans. This is their new SS power armor guys. If you have the old power armors for the Wehrmacht and stuff, they're still usable. This is just their, they got some special weapons and stuff now. I believe that's a light anti-tank gun here. Armor pieces, helmets, the backpacks, arms, more arms, rockets for a Panzerfaust, I believe, a knife, guy reloading his gun, sergeant, and they all have MG42s as their basic rifle, and I believe either shoulder pads or crotch pads, one of the two. And you get 2 of these sprues in the box. Then next up we have is the Fireflies. I believe you get 4 of these sprues. Each one is the same, kind of sticking with how they've been doing with the new bolt action stuff. You get your pocket flamethrower. So I believe one dude in 10-man squad can get that, at least in the original version. Your backpack. Your... what is that? Your bar. A fancy version of the bar. Your cool... your Thompsons with scopes. Your... the frickin' bazooka that you unfold. I forget what it's called. You get some of that. You get some shoulder pads or heads. Those are more heads. And then you get more Thompsons. It looks like your paratroopers are all going to be Thompsons, at least for the Fireflies. You get some... the cool thing about this is how they're made for some of them. Some are pre-posed, some are not. But you have an option to make, and you don't get enough parts initially to make double the amount of dudes out of the box. But if you had spare bits from bolt action and some upper torsos that you could print out, you can actually make double the amount of dudes in the box, because you have the option to, when you make the other 5 or whatever per sprue, you can have them jumping off of tactical rocks to make them look like they're landing. or you can have them on the ground already. And I think I'm going to make a mix of both. I'm going to have some jumping, flying away, and others on the ground. And then, you know, your bar. What is this? A folded up rocket? Oh, it has a bayonet on it. I think it is a folded up rocket. With a strap, I guess. Shoulder pads. So everybody's going to get shoulder pads apparently in Konflikt. Flare gun, knives, and other stuff that your airborne would get. Plus some anti-tank bombs for charging mechs and stuff. And again, you get a few of these in here. And then you get your basic pin markers, sprue. I got so many of these, I just use them as an independent sprue. And then we get our first look at some world building in model form. We have the terrain sprue that you get out of this. This is terrain specifically for Konflikt 47 or other sci-fi games that you have. So you will get 4 of these sprues, 4 or 5 of these sprues in here, just like the Fireflies. So as you can see here, we have some like, it's like a speaker with a bag on it and stuff. You got some pipes, blowing out walls, floors, more little doodad panels, some bricks and stuff to either put on the base that you built for this or on your own bases. Same with some sandbag or a light here. Yeah, that light clips onto here. So you have a light panel that you can put in it. And other stuff. That's a little bowl or a cap to put on top of the piping. And a little bunch of little bricks and pieces of wood and stuff. So if you want to put this on a little island or something for, say, a game like, you know, big named sci-fi game where you do L-shaped buildings, you have stuff to throw onto the base, or put this onto your mechs and your bases of your infantry and stuff. Next off, you get some of these. You get some loose bases in 32 millimeter, which are these, and you get some in 28. I built the 2 resin characters that are specific to this box already, so I'll be showing that later near the end when I show the other models built. You get your blast template and your same stuff. It uses all the exact same as bolt action, so if you already have these tokens or you have homemade tokens or you bought the wood, the FDM, whatever, stuff from Warlord, more the merrier. I give them away to clubs and stuff and people just getting into a sheet of 28 millimeter bases. And then you get your bag of dice, which we're gonna take a look here because they give us 2 new dice they're making. These are the Rift dice. Now this is a new mechanic that they brought into 2nd edition Konflikt. When you use models that are Rift technology, like your Fireflies, your Mechs and stuff, there's chances, or however you activate them, that you can do stuff, basically, as far as I'm aware, and I can be completely wrong because I'm doing this video before I read the rulebook, that these are basically like overcharging a plasma gun. And again, said sci-fi, generic sci-fi game set in a far millennia. But yeah, so there's that. These look sick. The green ones are see-through-ish. They're translucent. And you'll get enough for all of that. Plus you'll get dice to roll for actual shooting. And you get your order dice. It is still an order dice based game. Then we have a cool thing that I really like that they did is they've made transfer sheets specifically for Konflikt now. When you buy the newer vehicles, or if they even start doing this with the older mechs and stuff, they used to just give you generic transfer sheets for the World War II vehicles or Korean vehicles because it was just continuation, which was fair in the lore. But now, because this is completely a different thing, they've gone and made transfers specifically for the universe. So you have a vehicle one, then we have our USA, then we have our German transfer sheets. Same sort of markings. Oh, that is the American vehicle sheet, okay. And then we have the American infantry sheet. Very tiny, hard to see, but they're little tiny shoulder pads and stars and stuff. If you've used Warlord transfers for bolt action before, you'll know how these will work and basically are the same thing. Next off is we have a base for our walker. This is just a generic, don't have to focus in, it's just a generic 60 mil base. So this is the thing I really like that they did. We have this. You guys can sign up for the newsletter, get a free starting guide on their Konflikt thing. So you can download the field guide that's for this, so it teaches you like step by step how to play the games. If you saw the, now we get this. This is the model, the instruction manuals for Konflikt 2nd edition. So you get a cool picture on it, and then you get the usual thing. This is what that represents. This is part 1, 2, 3. Built that. Built the different things. 3D rendered pictures. Really stepped up their instruction manuals. It's almost like it's a completely different company making these. And the different models and stuff, and you fit. And how to make it, along with painting guides to fit the setting and the different weapons. And we have the same thing for the fireflies. And here you go, you kind of see them pre-built. Mech here, the lineback jumper that got redone. There it is on an oval base. Pretty neato. I can't get it to focus. So dumb. And then last but not least, we have the heavy armored guys. There's. So let's get ready to look at some of the vehicles. So this is the German mech. This is the new Spider mech that's replacing this Panzer spindle. That one's the light mech. This is the medium mech version, or the Panzer IV version. So we have the hull here and the turrets. And then on this one we have the legs and the fuel tanks and different stuff. And I'll zoom right in for you guys. Yeah, so you have the legs, the paneling, commander in the center, legs. Then if you've had the old model, hatch is the same idea still. Different turning. So this does match into the old models and the old Spider mechs if you've had those from Warlord, and you might even be able to do some shenanigans and make them fit. But yeah, I have two of those. I have the flamethrower one and the regular one. Last but not least, we have the lineback jumper with a plastic see-through canopy. You can throw that in there. And 3 sprues. So let's get right into these sprues. So we have on the first sprue, looks like the body of the mech with the canopy, so you can put the glass in or not. If you're going to do that, I recommend using some pretty good thin PVA glue. It really all depends on how you want to do, if you want to paint the interior or not. So we have that, the body, and other parts of that, and the back part where it has the jump packs. We have then on the next sprue the joints for the arms and the legs, along with a bunch of outside armor panels and exhausts. And the coolest parts, the weapons. So this will be a nice addition to my mech armored list for Konflikt. I have a couple of Grizzlies and some Kodak walkers. And then the last one is the legs and the arms with little in-between gubbins and joints. And here we go. We have the back of the box that shows you everything built and all the different models. So you get your unit of fireflies, your lineback, then your armored guys with their commander and mech, plus the rule book and transfer sheets and a guide of what you get here, plus a little intro. So with that, guys, this has been the first part of this unboxing. I'm going to go build the models, and when we get back to the end of the video, you guys will get to see them, and we'll have our final thoughts. Okay, guys, so we have it here, the models built. Now, not necessarily all of them, but you know, enough to show off the different customizations that you can do for these. So we're going to look over these more zoomed in, and talk about them in the end and give our final thoughts on this box. So let's zoom in on the first unit. Let's look at the American side. So here we go. We have the leader of the American team, the American forces. This is as far as I'm aware, he's a special model for exclusive to the starter set. They have him jumping up, pointing, leading the way. He has his Thompson backpack and stuff. It looks like a flight jacket, Tinker jacket. He has the shoulder pad. All right, I have him on a Citadel base just to mark him as special. Then we have our first in the plastics. This is my sergeant for the, that's why I call the leader of the unit, the sergeant, whatever, NCO of my first unit of Fireflies. Gone with the bag, with the pistol. I'm building them all as if they're landing in the first squad, and then the other squad will be them jumping off. Really good detail on these models. Like them quite well. They were super easy to build together. The instructions on how to build these were very good. They took what I wanted to see in starter boxes, in their new plastics. For those who may not know World War II history and stuff and loadouts, they made it very simple and very more war-gamey. So those who may not know too much about, war history, or maybe if you, you've watched Band of Brothers, but you haven't read the rules for Konflikt. The instruction manuals are user-friendly for both sides of the spectrum of players of historical war games. So I'm hoping they do that for bolt action to get more non-historical players into historical war games and their other games like Black Powder and Pike and Shot and stuff like that. So he's pretty good. Then we have our basic guy. You get enough body parts on here to build them either flying or standing on the ground. We have our first dude with the Thompson backpack, little pouches and stuff. They don't give you any ammo bags though for Thompsons like they do in the bolt action stuff, so that was a thing. We have the handheld flamethrower, so you put a little bit of glue on there and it glues to the belt, and then you use the little hand that's right beside it. A lot of extra heads in this box set that you get. BAR. And the coolest part we have is the jump walker for the Americans. This guy's a big boy. I have him on a base that I've made using some resin bits I'm going to cover up and mud stuff. The aquatic Japanese tank that I had a fail when printing, so I'm just going to turn that into like a swampy area for my Marines. But pretty neat. The feet were like building a Gundam, so that was kind of the most painful thing ever. But the rest of this thing, whoever designed the sprues for these new Konflikt things, give them a raise, because they were the nicest things ever. Building this torso, all one sprue. Building these legs, all one sprue together. I didn't need to use the instructions at all to build this thing. And this was my first time building a plastic walker from them. The only thing I needed the instructions for were the weapon options. That was it. So, whoever made the sprues for these need a raise. And the posability on this thing. Now, the one thing I would say I would like to see, it doesn't need anything. The sprue, I think this model is the best model I've seen come from Warlord games. This is probably favorite model of Warlord games. And I'm hoping they do this with the Kodaks and the Grizzlies, along with the Locusts and the Thor and the Zeus. And of course, the ones for the Russians too. The weird two-legged walker. But yeah. So this thing was awesome. If you build it right, the canopy opens and closes. So you can paint it and then boop. It's sick. And easy to magnetize. You just magnetize the connection points on these and you can pop them off for different. Or magnetize the bottom here where this connects. I'm trying to get in focus, guys. I'm sorry if it's not. You can pop it off. I just glued it because I really just want to paint this up because it's sick. I'm going to paint up more like an airplane. But now let's get right into the German side, and I have the exact same positives on these as I do with the Americans, so we're just going to look right at the models themselves. So we have the exclusive character for the Germans in his power armor. He has a nice cape. This guy's going to be fun to paint up. The dual STGs. And again, a custom base to denote him as something special. Made by that guy. It's pretty neato. And we have our anti-tank gun for the power armor. Yet again, you'll have some legs left over because they can give you different ones, so all your dudes can look unique, which is awesome. Again, whoever made these sprues, really good. Some of the best plastic models I've seen from Warlord. My sergeant for the unit with a shoulder Panzerfaust. Stormbolter, aka dual STGs with ammo and stuff on the side. And then we have our standard dude on the squad. You can give them STGs or you can give them LMGs. Now in the original power armor of the Wehrmacht, you're 1 out of every 3 dudes could, or 5 dudes, depending on how you built them in the squad, if they were an HQ squad or not, could take an LMG. And then the rest were all, you know, the Stormbolter STGs in their hands. So they made these more like, these are more like Centurions, whereas the other guys were Space Marines. Then last but not least, we have their new, basically the Panzer IV, the Spider Mech. And if you've built the metal version of the spindle of the original Spider Mech, pros and cons to this, I have built both versions of the original and the resin metal. The resin metal one was a lot easier because it was just a single chunk of resin hull and then you put metal legs on it. The benefits of this being plastic though and posable and not going to be super weighted and needing to use super glue is going to be awesome. But the longest part of this whole model is trying to get this to line up. If you don't clean the nubs off carefully, you're going to get little gaps like I have. And these legs just take forever to build. It was like an hour of just doing legs. But besides that, the multiple turret options where you can actually make both up to you can make 3 turrets on this thing. This is just a little stuck because it's a tight fit. But I've made the autocannon / anti-air version, and then I made their new Rift Tech weapon. Be careful, there's little nubs on the one side of these when you glue these, like these 2 pieces glue together. I accidentally cut them off, so I had to use super glue to hold it together. But besides that, really good. I like it. Again, the same thing, just like the jump walker, the sprues for the hull, the legs, the weapons were all together in the order that you would need to build them anyways, and together so you didn't have to worry about finding a piece on sprue A and then finding piece number 108 on sprue B to make one leg. Like this mech was super simple to build. It's 4 pieces for the hull. Each leg is made out of 2 pieces. And the little designer notes they put in there to be like, hey, these legs make sure are in the front and these legs are in the back, or designer cool hobby note if you want to do this thing, the hull is like thin enough you can cut a door open or something, is really good. So that was it. This has been the unboxing, the true full more deep dive unboxing of the Konflikt 47 2-player starter set. All in all, again, I keep saying this with every Warlord starter set. I said this with Octon Panzer. I did this with the British, the Desert War and stuff, I believe. But every starter box, they just keep getting better and better. I'd say this is at the top. I still think Octon Panzer is the best valued 2-player starter box that they've built. But this is very close to it. This is competing with it. It really depends on your views. If you want sci-fi, non-true historical, this is the best starter box I've seen for a game like that. I 100% would recommend it. If you like historical, but you like armored, like especially say if you come from War Thunder, Octon Panzer, best value starter box that Warlords made till point money cost. So it's really up to you. If you want like the best valued infantry with armor, this game, best starter set. If you want best value for the game you're playing, Octon Panzer. Until they make more box sets based off of, you know, historicals and stuff, this is the best. So anyways, ranting on with that. Final thoughts on this box set I can think of is, yeah, worth it. I'm excited to read the rule book when I go finally pick it up at the Bit Swap. I'm going to hopefully you guys find this interesting. At least you get to see what's in there and how stuff looked built in case you're building it yourself. I'm excited to see them make more models. I'm a little hesitant on the lore, but we will go over that at another time. I'm just excited to paint these up, so please, if you want to see these models painted and stuff, check out my Twitter links. Hopefully, if I remember, will be down below. If not, it's in my channel banner on the main page. Hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing this video and looking at these models and taking a glimpse into the Konflikt starter box. I'm sorry that this video came later than it did compared to when other people did it, but yeah, it's a game that it's one of my favorite games out there. I've started to lose interest in bolt action and black powder and stuff. I think I'm starting to wane out of my historical era that every gamer is going to go through at some point, and I'm heavily into conquest, though I will say my true love will always be Warlord games for a company. They're great, the games they make are fun, the models are great and accurate as far as I've seen compared to others that I can get where I live. So, and you know, I don't have a 3D printer anymore, it brokey. So highly recommend this. Check out the website, read the lore. They're going to have some of the best writers on there and stuff. And we're just going to see how this turns out, if it becomes a full-fledged game or if it's just a one-off that dies off and they head back to Orange Goblin in like 2 years. Highly recommend it. Loved it. I keep saying it because it's true. I'm going to go now. It's late. I have spent all week trying to do this. Okay, we will see you guys in the next video, potentially streams. Bye-bye. Oh, I just punched the camera. Bye-bye, guys. Click the video. Click it. Click the video. You know you want to. Click it.